Tonight, dangerous storms smash the coast. 6 local MPs sworn into Parliament portfolios. New ultrasound technology unveiled at SCOO. And a Budrum Bakery's recipe for success.
Live from the Sunshine Coast, this is 7 News with Joanne Desmond.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Well, the coast has been hammered by wild weather that damaged more than 50 properties overnight. The sudden onslaught has prompted an urgent reminder from police to get ready, with storm season officially starting today.
Nature really turned on the special effects for Halloween, but instead left Mullaney looking like a white Christmas. Windows were shattered as golf ball-sized hail pelted down on Mapleton.
Just came rolling in about 4:30 and the hail started about 5.
It turned green pretty quick and then it hammered.
John Neal's home was right in the firing line.
A lot of wind and rain. We had 56 mils of rain. A lot of damage to the garden.
The SES received dozens of calls.
We saw over 50 SES jobs last night, mainly for fallen trees, leaky roofs.
34 of the jobs were call-outs across the sunny coast, with 14 in Noosa. Today, Nambour SES put up drones at Rainbow Park Drive to assess the damage. Properties in Chevelin, Yandina and Karoi were still without power at 9 a.m. Police hope the sudden storm will shake people out of their complacency.
We need to be prepared. Now's the time to be prepared.
They're urging locals to check their gutters and tie down any loose outdoor furniture. For more safety tips, visit the Get Ready Queensland website. Rebecca Jensen, 7 News.
Well, the Sunshine Coast has become a ministry mecca, with 6 local MPs today sworn into statewide portfolios. The new Premier also created new ministries, which he says will help tackle the major issues plaguing our state.
6 Sunshine Coast members today taking solemn oaths as senior members of the state.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to His Majesty King Charles III.
I will well and truly serve the people of Queensland.
Kiwana's Jared Blay arguably given the easiest start to his new roles.
Correct. Thank you. That's it. Wow, okay.
The Deputy Premier is now also responsible for industrial relations, infrastructure and planning. But hinterland hero Andrew Powell has a big task ahead.
I've made the decision to create a super portfolio involving tourism and environment, and I'm asking Andrew Powell to be able to drive the change that is needed.
Former Sunshine Coast Child Protection Detective Dan Purdy emerged from his shadow portfolio to be sworn in as Minister for Police. His focus, more boots on the ground.
Coolum Police Station just down the road in 2017 when I left the police. Worked in a demountable in town and we had 28 police officers, and on the roster today they're lucky to get between 9 and 11.
Gympie's Tony Perrott has primary industries, while Maroochydor's Fiona Simpson is now a triple threat as Minister for Women, Multiculturalism and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders.
I've made a promise before the election that there'd be a 3-person team looking at the state's finances. 2 of them would be women, so Fiona Simpson will be in charge of women's economic security.
Rounding out the Sunshine Coast's 30% stake in State Cabinet, Budrum's Brent Mickelberg taking over transport and main roads.
And then the hard work begins.
Danny Sharp, 7 News.
A new ultrasound machine at Sunshine Coast University Hospital is helping women with complex pregnancies access advanced medical care. The new equipment allows babies to be scanned in more detail for women whose birthing journey may not be going to plan.
It's supposed to be one of the most joyous times of their lives. But for Meg and Ryan Erskine, bringing their identical twin girls Matilda and Zoe into the world was a tumultuous journey.
Unfortunately, we had a lot of complications with our pregnancy and they developed twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome.
It's a rare pregnancy condition where twins share one placenta, causing an imbalance in the blood exchange. Meg needed regular, specialised care at SCOO's maternal fetal medicine unit, which now boasts new state-of-the-art ultrasound technology.
It's basically the very best ultrasound machine pretty much on the market.
Allowing specialists to get more details about the developing brain and heart and keep patients on the coast closer to home.
The next fetal medicine specialist is in Townsville. So it's a long way.
Having Tom doing all of our scans gave us a lot of comfort.
Jodie Clark, 7 News.
The state's biggest thrift sale is back for the final time this year. St Vincent de Paul stores across Queensland will have 50% off until tomorrow night. The proceeds will go towards supporting essential services, housing and feeding people in need. Vinnie's volunteers say more than 9 million second-hand items were sold last financial year. Well, anyone who's trying to give up smoking knows just how difficult it can be, even with a packet now costing up to $80. Queensland researchers are hoping to change that, offering nicotine replacement products if smokers sign up to a new trial.
The day Terry Byrne quit smoking was the day she was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2007. The on and off smoker of 20 years carries regret every single day about a decision she made in her teens.
So I've only got less than a quarter of a lung on one side. It scares me what I leave behind.
Fewer than 10% of Australians smoke daily, but it remains the country's leading cause of preventable death and disease.
Lung cancer screening can reduce mortality by 21%. Combining that with smoking cessation can almost double that mortality benefit.
A new study by the University of Queensland hopes to find ways to increase screening and quitting, calling for 1,000 Queensland smokers aged 50 to 80 to take part.
The only cost to the participant is getting to and from the CT scanner.
The scan itself will be free and can detect lung cancer before the silent and secret killer takes hold.
Like, you don't have to wait on a waiting list to go and get it done.
If we can pick up something early, we can cure you. And at the same time, we can help you quit smoking. So this is a double win.
Nicotine patches, gums and lozenges will also be provided. Queenslanders who register with Quitline can join the trial to send their habit up in smoke. Connor Alforque, 7 News.
A small switch is helping to reduce bills at a Budrum bakery, saving them more than 1.5 hours of power every day. Baker's Delight received an energy-efficient grant as part of a federal cash boost for small businesses across the coast.
Rising bread while lowering costs. Baker Damien Pauling says his new G-switch has changed the way he runs his business.
Our ovens are set on a timer and we were wasting 1.5 hours of electricity each night and we didn't know anything about it until we installed the G-switch.
It's a small device installed by an electrician into the switchboard.
We can see on an app where the energy is being wasted. So if something's starting to draw more electricity than it should, then it'll pick it up and we can fix it.
The funding for it was part of $185,000 in federal energy grants split across 9 Fairfax businesses.
They get their costs down, they can keep costs down for consumers.
It's the type of transparency every business owner dreams of against a tide of rising bills.
Small business are struggling with the electricity at the moment, so for us that's a big deal.
Improving efficiency while reducing their carbon footprint. Grants are still available. To find out more, contact Ted O'Brien's office. Jodie Clark, 7 News.
And ahead tonight in 7 News, artificial habitats boosting fish numbers in the Mary River and the maiden voyage of the Mooloolaba Ferry.
Sunshine Coast turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues, and we want you to be part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
Thanks for joining us here on 7. A Griffith University trial to help the Mary River's endangered wildlife bounce back is showing signs of success. Researchers have installed 24 logs to protect species like cod, lungfish and the Mary River turtle. The artificial habitats resemble the nesting sites washed away by severe weather in recent years. Monitoring shows cod breeding is taking off, with fish choosing the logs as a place to protect thousands of eggs. The habitats are also being used by other species. A young Queensland grazier persuaded friends to join her on a 400-kilometre bike ride over 4 days. Their efforts raised awareness for pancreatic cancer, which has some of the lowest 5-year survival rates in the country.
From Taroom to Toowoomba, Emily Waters and 5 others hit the road for a cause dear to their hearts.
And then we had 7 support crew people that just helped us, mostly family.
400 kilometres worth of sweat and fun.
I couldn't run because I was injured last year, and then come up with the idea to cycle somewhere.
The group raised more than $27,000 for Pancreatic, its mission to triple the pancreatic cancer survival rate by 2030, a cancer Emily knows all too well.
Well, my mother passed away from pancreatic cancer in December 2018, and it's quite a deadly cancer.
And a sneaky one. Symptoms of the disease can often be mistaken for conditions such as gallbladder problems, reflux and muscular pain.
I hadn't heard of anyone that had had it when my mother was diagnosed, and like a lot of the symptoms can be just a lot of different things like back pain.
Pancreatic data shows survival rates for pancreatic cancer in rural and regional areas about 6%, 50% less compared to the city. The ride finished where Emily's mother spent her final days in hospital.
It was a overwhelming but also very exciting feeling riding into St Andrews.
Josh Van Staden, 7 News.
Yeah, it's very special. Well done, Emily and crew. Well, after decades of demands for a better way to cross the Mooloolah River, one Sunshine Coast business is providing the solution. It's launched a ferry service connecting Mooloolaba to Kawana, and we're on board for the maiden voyage.
Hitting the water in a region renowned for its lack of public transport.
It's the right time, and with the Olympics coming up, it'll be here before you know it.
The ferry was made possible with the purchase of the right vessel.
First part of the project was Lucinda. She's an ex-Brisbane ferry. 1986 she was built.
From next Thursday, Lucinda will run 4 days a week, docking at the Kawana Hotel, La Bolsa Park, Pier 33 and the Wharf.
I think the 15-kilometre journey that it is to get from one side of the river to the other, when you go by car, can be quite slow.
Seats 52 people, so essentially every single trip you're taking about 10 cars off the road.
Sharing the success by putting other local businesses on the map.
Down at the Kawana shopping centre, like there's the event cinemas down there. That's never been accessible to tourists before.
Cross the river tickets are only $10.
Well, today it took just 4 minutes to get from Pier 33 at Mooloolaba across to La Bolsa Park in Point Cartwright. And that journey is not only said to benefit locals, but the millions of visitors to the Sunshine Coast every year.
We see around 2.1 million annually through the wharf.
You can book online or at any of the stops. Danny Sharp, 7 News.
Yeah, such a lovely way to get around the coast, and beautiful day for it, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I think Lucinda's going to be very, very busy, Joe.
So, all right, let's have a look at sport. And the stage is set for the Noosa Triathlon.
Absolutely, Joe. The event's greatest champion in history has arrived, where Ash Gentle will chase a staggering 11th women's title on Sunday. We'll have more on that next. While at Alexandra Headland, the Iron Woman and Iron Man finals are set for tomorrow's Hayden Kenny Classic. And welcome back. Well, the greatest champion in the history of the Noosa Tri is ready to go Sunday morning, even though Ash Gentle is also preparing for another big race in a few weeks in Dubai. The 33-year-old is vying for her 10th straight title and 11th overall at a race that brings out the best in her.
The big names of triathlon assembled at Noosa Heads today for the traditional media day. Ash Gentle has done plenty of them. She's also won the race a record 10 times.
It's always a hard-fought race, but I mean, I feel like Noosa Tri brings out the best in me, so I'm excited.
The 33-year-old won her first Noosa Tri in 2012. Her second came 2 years later, and since then has not lost. A win on Sunday would be 10 straight and 11 overall.
I always make sure that I try and race with integrity and try and have good sportsmanship, because I think that if the younger generation can see that and can see that that's the standard, they'll also race in the same manner.
But can the Queen of Noosa do it again, with one eye still on the T100 Pro Series overseas?
The grand final is actually in 2 weeks in Dubai, so I'm currently second on those rankings, and I've been super focused for that grand final in a couple of weeks' time.
And while 18 other elite women will be chasing Ash, the men's promises to be a strong field as well, where Olympian Luke Willian is the top seed.
Went to Paris and raced world champs 2 weekends ago and got back Thursday from that. So it's all just been about recovering and trying to freshen up as much as I can for one last race.
Jacob Birtwistle, another former winner, is also in the hunt.
My game plan will kind of just be to be in contention coming out of the swim, and hopefully I can then kind of use my strengths on the bike and run to have a good performance overall.
The elites hit the starting line Sunday morning at 6:15. Luke McGarry, 7 News.
Meanwhile, 5 Sunshine Coast surf sport athletes have qualified for tomorrow's Iron Woman final at the Hayden Kenny Classic at Alexandra Headland Beach. Alex pair Emma Woods and Grace Harris, Maroochydor's Tiani Massey, Mooloolabah's Dom Stitt and Sunshine Beach's Gemma Smith-Welch are through after this afternoon's heats. Cara Papic also made the 20-woman cut after switching from Noosa to Burleigh Heads over the winter.
I've been loving it under Kingy's guidance. We've got such a big crew. We're like a little big family there. So it's been awesome to just have that guidance from Kingy and to have the support of the crew.
No coastmen made the Iron final, but Jet Kenny wasn't missing the chance to compete in the event named after his grandfather. He even wore his famous father's cap.
Yeah, look, I ended up crossing in 8th, which got me through to the next round, but I'm actually working at the moment. I'm on my lunch break, so I've pulled out of the next round, so I get to do the next rounds just watching.
Good way to spend your lunch break. Jet will compete in tomorrow's team events. He's also thrown down the gauntlet ahead of the coveted Taplin Relays, which is part of the Super Saturday program. There is a huge battle brewing between his Alex Heads club and a Gold Coast powerhouse.
Lani Pallister won a gold at Paris 2024, Riley Fitzsimmons a silver in the K4. And both will be in action on a big Saturday at Alexandra Headland.
These carnivals, they've got so much depth in them. There's so many Olympians and Australian national champions from every different type of sport, swimming, kayaking, rowing, whatever it might be, or running.
Lani will wear the Alex cap in a number of team events, including the mixed Taplin, where they'll take on Riley's Northcliff in what's become one of the ultimate battles each summer.
The depth that we have at Alex is so impressive, and oftentimes we end up coming in pretty even with Northcliff as well, so yeah, it's never an easy win.
Alex is Taplin town. We said it time and time again, people debate it, but we're the only club with the world with Australian titles, so anyone who wants to say otherwise, step up, win a title for once.
Pallister will also look to defend her amazing record in the surf race, and in a rare appearance, will do the board race.
I think everyone actually underestimates me as a board paddler. Like, board paddling is the exact same as swimming, so I think it's often pretty fun going in and having them thinking it's just like a bit of a fun race for me.
The Hayden Kenny Classic, the perfect escape from a big 4 years of swimming.
You kind of just sit there and you're like, oh my God, what's next? So I think it's really important to just kind of take the time to sit and reflect on what you've achieved, what you've done, what went well, what didn't go so well.
Luke McGarry, 7 News.
Good luck to everyone in town racing this weekend, and that's it for sport. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for that, Nate. After the break, Livio has all the latest on the weekend weather for us, and Robbie Sherwell has our surf report as well.
G'day, Livio Regano with tonight's weather. November kicks off with a typical dose of late spring weather, a cacophony of electrical storms erupting over southeastern Queensland, some with big hail and driving rain. Tomorrow a cool change will hopefully soften the storms. Koroy clocked up almost 100 millimetres out of last night's storms. Mapleton got 75 mils in about 2 hours. Palmwood, Pomona and Newdlow all did pretty good as well. At the airport today, our top temp was 31 degrees after a low this morning of 16. Nambour hit a high of 32. Gidby got to 33, all above average. Now, the satellite loop, everything looked similar to yesterday, but the storms are a lot more isolated. Some nasty ones. One big one went over the Brisbane metro area, which had a gustnado. You probably saw pictures over the Brisbane River. Another one not far from Gympie started to head towards Rainbow Beach, but again, the Blackall Range copped it today. Second night in a row. It looks like for the time being everything's over, and the chance of getting another storm later tonight is fairly slim. There will be a chance tomorrow. This is today's chart. You can see that the trough is in a much better position, aligned to produce storms because it's closer to the southeast coast. Ahead of it, those northerly or northwesterly winds predominating once more. Quite a humid wind. On tomorrow's chart, the bottom section of the trough breaks off and starts to move up the coast in the form of the southeasterly change. Our temperature will drop by 4 or 5 degrees as a result, but we still may get storms. They won't be severe this time. And then on the outlook chart, the trough disappears altogether, and now we just get southeasterly trade winds for Sunday. Might get a shower or two, but no more storms by this stage. And now the latest from the Weather Bureau, the boating forecast for sunny coast waters. The day will start with a light southerly, shifting east-southeasterly, 15 to 20 knots by afternoon, with seas rising to 1.5 metres, winds then turning northeasterly on Sunday and northerly on Monday. The new moon spring tides are upon us, so it's a time of dramatic ocean movement with really high peaks and equally exaggerated periods of low water. For the southeast coast, a cooler day with showers and a possible thunderstorm, not severe. Maroochydore 26 degrees only, Nambour 25 and Gympie 27. Looking ahead, after a cooler weekend, our temps will return to the 30s fairly quickly. As far as rain goes, expect nothing after Sunday and you won't be disappointed. Tonight's photo from Moreton Island came with a question. Why was the storm moving against the wind? My answer, most thunderstorms are over 10 kilometres high and tend to get steered by high altitude winds, which can be very different from winds at the surface. Thank you, Jackie and Vern. Hope that answers your question. Catch you Monday. Now it's over to Robbie Sherwell with the Surf Report.
Thanks, Liv. Well, unfortunately, the surf is tiny across the coast beaches. We are supposed to have a southeasterly change sometime this evening or tonight, and it is supposed to grow a little bit. It's going to be a south-southeasterly swell. I can't still see it getting over about 1/2 to 3/4 metre at the most, and that's on the open beaches. Now, southeasterlies expected tomorrow, with northeasterlies expected on Sunday, hoping for lighter winds early in the morning. Now, high tide, 8:30 tomorrow, 9 o'clock on Sunday, so only moving half an hour. Only expecting that 1/2 metre, so I'd be checking tomorrow. Southern quarter of Alexander Bay, Coolum through to Stumers. Also down around northern Maroochydore and the lower end of the Kawana stretch. On Sunday, when the northeasters kick in, check Kawana Pocket, Yurumba on the high tide or Sunshine. Now for swimmers, even though the surf is small, just remember it's always a dangerous place. Please stay between the red and yellow flags as tragedies do occur on unpatrolled beaches. Have a wonderful weekend across the coast beaches. Now it's back to you, Joe.
Great, thanks for that, Robbie. That's all from us for this Friday. Thanks for your company and have a fantastic weekend. From all of us here, goodbye.